we're going to tell you the story of the real Quasimodo, a man that just wants to work hard, wants to do good, wants to be there for his best friend, and he also just wants to find love, but above all else, he wants to eat oysters, 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 toga, oysters, toga, oysters, toga, oysters, toga, 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 oysters, oysters, oysters. And by the end of this tale that just takes a few twists and turns about friendship and love and violence and all that, you ask yourself, what's happening? Oh, hi, rerun. Quasi is a Hulu original from the Broken Lizard crew, directed by one, written by the rest, starring all of them. They're getting back together after Super Troopers and various other projects, because when you're dressed up like $1 million trooper and you're trying hard to look like Gary Cooper, it's super duper. This has nothing to do with Gary Cooper or Super Troopers. This is set in a little hamlet where the King of France and the Pope want Quasi to kill the other. That's pretty much it right there. There isn't a lot to the plot. In fact, this movie basically tries to be an homage and also a variation of the comedy found in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Here's the difference between Monty Python and the Holy Grail and the Quest for the Holy Grail, whatever the hell title you want to put with it. Here's the difference between that, any other Monty Python movie, and Quasi. These actually had funny jokes in them. Monty Python and the entire crew basically, yeah, they might have been drunk and high and likely, well, various other forms of whatever, but at least they had life and energy to their movies. And sure, maybe you couldn't always look on the bright side of life, but when it comes to Quasi, it's really all I can say to describe it. This is one of the unfunniest comedies I have ever seen in my fucking life. If you like their brand of comedy, maybe you'll enjoy this. And I enjoyed Super Troopers for what it was. I can't say I enjoyed every single aspect of it. And they have a particular style of comedy that works for some, doesn't work for others. But even with the terrible, terrible trailer, I saw that and was like, wow, this looks really goddamn bad. But because it was requested by numerous people, some that are likely watching this right now, and I want to say I hold all of you personally responsible for me having to endure this 90-plus minute movie. In all seriousness, I'm willing to take viewer requests. That does not mean I can get to them, but why not? I could have been surprised. I've been surprised by movies this year, and I was surprised by this. I thought that it was actually going to at least be mildly awful and not apocalyptically awful. Agonizingly, abhorrently awful, where if they are meant to be comedians now, I don't know how much effort they put into this movie, but more would have helped. Any effort would have helped. Yes, it's not supposed to be taken seriously, but every single joke is drug out and just stretched and tortured on the rack. Ironic, considering that Quasi is the one that invented the rack. And also they play multiple parts because, you know, Monty Python movies and stuff like that. We need to honor the Monty Python movies. You should have honored them by actually trying to do something good. Oh, I'm getting a severe pain just thinking about how awful this movie is. Spoiling this isn't really going to fucking matter, because if you can't see where this thing's going, it attempts to do some stuff about friendship and love and whatever, and it just has comedy that I guess is in the broadest sense, in the most, you know, largest quotations possible. You want to see some good comedy? Watch these movies. Watch Airplane. Watch Airplane 2, Electric Boogaloo. Watch the Naked Gun movies. Okay, I don't have the second one. I'll get it eventually. Stop hounding me about it. But seriously, these are good. Even Airplane 2, that had its own issues with, you know, William Shatner pretty much being the goddamn highlight, and a lot of the movie really just felt like a retread. And it wasn't great, but it still had life and energy to it. And Quasi is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Too many cooks in the kitchen. The writing is shit. The sets are shit. I know that they were just making this to have a laugh, have a lark, whatever it is. And that's fine if they wanted to get together and just make a project that they enjoyed. But you need to actually try to make something that other people will enjoy. And Quasi is not that. The storybook opening is what it is. It's all right. And between Quasi or Quasi, I don't really care how it's fucking said because it's not important, and Duchamp, who is actually the director, they're best friends, but they have issues because Duchamp wants to be a hero. He wants to be a hero at the end of the night, and he's got to be strong, and he's got to be fast, because Quasi takes up all of his light. He needs a hero. And basically, Quasi is seen as sympathetic, but also cool because he's smart and inventive, and wants to do good for the people. The Queen, played by Adrienne Palicki, I swear I recognize that name. I am really struggling to remember where I remember her from. I looked at her IMDb page and couldn't think of anything, but I know that name, and I know I've seen her before. She looks great. You know who also looks great? Hasey Harrison, who put her in more movies. I'd like to see her in more movies. And from there, just a series of set pieces, or a series of scenes, rather, and, are on these few set pieces where everything is just basically stretched out jokes, unfunny shit. It's all just mind-numbingly lacking in any nuance. Edges are scraped off and everything. It's as smooth as this goddamn, DVD Blu-ray case. It doesn't have any life to it. Doesn't have any originality. Doesn't have any fun. Everybody seems like they were just making this movie on a fucking dare, and that's really about it. It is one of the most agonizingly abhorrent, atrocious comedies I have seen in my life. This was terrible. Watch it on Hulu if you want, if you have a Hulu subscription. Hey, maybe you guys will like it. I don't know. I haven't hated stuff that Broken Lizard's done in the past, even if, again, I have not found every single thing funny. They've done funnier stuff than this. And this was just churned out and very, very goddamn awful. So yeah, Oyster, the food of kings. You truly are the king of kings. Excellent. So yeah, everything about it is just really goddamn bad. Really, really bad. Bad comedy. Stretched out jokes. Nothing about it is good. Anyway, I'm going to get into spoilers. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. So the Queen likes smelly things, likes Quasi, and it turns out that they're cousins, and they overthrow this whole thing of the Pope and the King trying to get Quasi to kill the other. And then Duchamp basically has an issue with his friend, gets him captured at one point, and then he escapes. The Queen and Quasi end up actually fucking on the rack. I'm not even kidding. That's actually something that happens, despite the fact they're cousins. But that's why she's really attracted to him, because we're related by blood. And that's about it. That's really about it. And then it turns out that the King of France and the Pope actually were lovers. And then then they die. And basically Queen Catherine and Quasi take over the kingdom and do stuff good for the people. Nothing about this is funny at all. Nothing about this is funny. This is agonizing. This is brutal. It is one of the worst goddamn movies I have seen this year. It is one of the worst movies of the fucking decade. How dare you, Broken Lizard? How dare you think that this is appropriate? How dare you, Hulu? How dare you? How dare you? How fucking goddamn dare you? How dare you? Watch Monty Python: The Quest for the Holy Grail. Just watch the worst comedy that you've seen outside of movie 43 and maybe a few others. Watch just some goofy slapstick thing from the 70s or the 80s, and you'll enjoy it more than this. Because Quasi is absolutely terrible. It's not endearing. It's not funny. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. F. It gets an F. It is one of the worst movies of 2023. How fucking dare you, Broken Lizard? God damn, they must have held the families of everybody hostage. Every extra hostage, just so they do this. Because there's no other explanation for why this would be so goddamn bad. Yeah, F. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Recklin. I'll see you soon.